So, let me pull up the podcast. Okay. We are live. Perfect. Okay, cool. So, he's in the chat. All right, so welcome to another episode of Gridiron and Gridlock. My co-host, Mr. Andrew Santoro, is currently waiting for his PC to stop being a brick, and then we'll be good to get going. I apologize. I'm very tired. We stayed up. We stayed up late last night, playing F1. Sundays are not for the birds. Well, they are for the birds, but they're for these birds today because these birds decide who is going to the playoffs between the Buccaneers and the Panthers, along with the refs that officiated the game last night. I do not care whether or not the Panthers or the Buccaneers go to playoffs. I do not care one way or the other. I would like Atlanta to win so they can be 8-9, but that's not. I don't want them to win. I can hear you, by the way. I don't want them to win because I want the Panthers to move on. I do not care. However, I hope that none of the refs that officiated the Buccaneers-Panthers game are even remotely close to any of the playoff games. Holy cow.
It was horrible.
They handed the Buccaneers that game. It was absolutely wild. And now it does, in fact, come down to the Atlanta Falcons. If they win against the Saints, something divisionally happens where the Buccaneers will not go to the playoffs. But if they lose, the Buccaneers will go to playoffs.
Yeah, it's like all of them. If the Falcons win today, they're all 8-9, but the Panthers would have the division record tiebreaker against the Falcons and the Buccaneers, and that's why they would be okay.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that game last night though between Seattle and San Francisco,
that was rough.
Yeah, that was 3 points in a game where you could get the division and home field advantage.
I know, and it isn't even just on the level of home field advantage. It is the home field advantage. You got the home field advantage for you don't play the first week of playoffs, but then for the divisional round, the conference championship, and because the Super Bowl is in Santa Clara, if they win the conference championship, they would be playing the Super Bowl at home. So they did just throw away a massive opportunity. Now, I will say the Seattle defense came to play. I watched first half of that game. They showed up and showed out. I do think the Niners kind of need to get their heads out of their butts a little bit in terms of, yes, your players are injured, but the regular season, when you had more players out, you were kicking butt. And if they had that one seed, they would have an extra week for your players to potentially come back and get some practice with them before starting playoffs. But now they're going to go... they're going to get... I think they get the 5th seed no matter what, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're locked into 5, yeah.
They'll be traveling to either Carolina or Tampa Bay, which I don't see a problem with either of those teams for the Niners. However,
shouldn't be an issue.
However, then you are most likely going up against the 1 seed again if you move on. So
in Seattle this time.
Exactly. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Niners playoffs move forward from here.
So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch any of the Seahawks game because we were all playing F1. Priorities.
Yes.
But I saw the highlights, and that was just a bad Christian McCaffrey drop.
Yeah.
That drop was just that reminds me of, actually, Ethan, you'll remember this game, the Saquon drop in the Falcons game last year.
Yes.
When the Eagles would have won. That would have at least brought San Francisco into the game. It would have been 13-10 with 10 minutes left to play.
I know.
So at that point, but also it just seems like Brock Purdy didn't play that well, which is odd because of the season he's been having. But I mean, that just shows that Seattle's for real. That's what that game yesterday tells me, is that Seattle's actually a real team.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the stat that every year that there's been a new pope elected into the
I
papacy,
did see that.
the Seattle Seahawks go to the Super Bowl. They get the 1 seed and go to the Super Bowl every year that has happened. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's actually hilarious. I mean, hey, if you're a betting man, and I'm a betting man, and I'm a Catholic, so I guess go Seahawks.
Isn't it like you're required by Catholic law to bet on them now?
Well, hold on now. The Pope's a Bears fan, though. He's from Chicago, so I don't know. It could be Chicago's year. First American Pope.
I don't know. Seattle and Chicago, they're close enough, right?
No.
So most of the playoffs have been officially set. I believe we're waiting on the Falcons game to determine the NFC South.
Lots of seeding today, though.
Yeah. Exactly, and then everyone else is just determining where they are. So what does the playoff picture look like currently? Luna, I see you there.
Well, we're just waiting on, obviously, like you said, the Saints-Falcons game. But did you know that today the Jaguars have the capability of moving to the 1 seed or the 7 seed, depending on how the games go today?
I did see a thing where they could be in pretty much every seed except the 4th seed, I think. They could possibly be fighting.
That's right. That's right.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're going to choke in playoffs, though. It's Trevor Lawrence.
Well, he's been having a really good year, though. That's the thing. Like, he's actually been doing well.
Yeah, I don't know. If I learned anything from watching the Jaguars, because they were always a team that I was like, you know what? This is going to sound so stupid. I like their color scheme. I like their logo. I'll just keep an eye on them, see if they can be my AFC team or whatever. Every time they get to playoffs, Trevor Lawrence plays like Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he is the most inconsistent human being on earth. So we'll see. Santoro freeze.
Very briefly.
Looks like it. Oh, there he is.
All right.
Okay, so I'm pulling up the current playoff picture.
Yes.
So,
God, those top 4 teams are insane.
Obviously, the 1 seed on each side. Well, the 1 seed for the AFC has yet to be determined, but the Seahawks are the 1 seed. Bears and Eagles can flip-flop today if the Bears lose and the Eagles win. That would be the only way they flip-flop today. And like I said, the Jaguars here, they can go up to the 1 seed with a win, and then the Patriots and Broncos loss, or they can drop all the way to the 7 seed with a loss and a Texans, Chargers, and Bills win.
Interesting.
Which is absolutely insane.
I don't see them losing to Tennessee, though.
I know, right? But then again, Tennessee's playing for nothing, literally.
Well, they'd be playing for a draft, so they might not play their heart out.
And then we've got, on the NFC side, the Niners are locked into the 5. Rams are locked into this now, actually, I believe. I don't think they can swap. Even if the Rams win, I don't think they swap.
No, I think
we know the Packers are locked. Packers are locked into the 7 seed. And then obviously we have these teams in the hunt here. Steelers, Buccaneers, Ravens, Panthers. I mean, we'll get to talking about each individual game. But those are the teams that are looking inside today if the season ended immediately. Pretty much set up, though. The only thing is seeding, which is why, like, who's going to get the 1 seed, Broncos or Patriots? I mean, Patriots have an easier game, in my opinion, against Miami. So if they win and the Broncos lose, that's it. You know, the Patriots get it. So this is where things currently stand. Surprising to see the Bills at the 7 seed, question mark. Does that surprise any of you?
I mean, I would
Not
say,
this year.
yeah, I was gonna say, I would say yes if it weren't for the fact that we've actually been tracking who they've been playing against. Some of their losses are unacceptable. I'm sorry, you should not lose to the Falcons. That is not a team you should be losing to.
Well, the Rams lost to the Falcons.
That is not a team you should be losing to as the Rams.
I mean, that's fair. I feel like the Falcons are just the most like, other than the Panthers, they're the most bipolar team to exist in the NFL.
Yep. But yeah, I think I'm not surprised that the Bills are down that low. After watching their season, but I think beginning of the season, I would have said I was very surprised.
I was gonna say, at the beginning of the season, I would have thought the Bills would be fighting for 1 or 2. I mean, that's an obvious. It's like the Chiefs. We all thought the Chiefs would be there too, but I don't know. The Bills have been inconsistent. Like we said, it's either Josh Allen goes off or Josh Allen doesn't go off. They can't rely on the running game with Cook every single game because teams are going to shut that down if they're legitimately trying to contend with them.
Yeah.
And so really it comes down to their skill positions outside of their running back, and they don't have that anywhere. So it's no wonder Josh Allen's having to be a hero, and he can't do that every game. So I'm not shocked this year that they're 7th seed.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have been higher, but I think all these other teams just have been more consistent than them.
Although, wait, if Chargers and the Texans lose and the Bills win, they'll jump up to the 5 seed, correct?
They jump up to the 5, which is possible because the Chargers are playing Denver. I don't think the Texans are losing to the Colts today, just because the Colts are starting Riley Leonard, the rookie from Notre Dame. So I mean.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how the Chargers-Denver game turns out because, I mean, we've talked about, specifically with the Patriots and the Broncos before, their records aren't exactly telling of how well they've been playing, and the strength of their opponents has been top 3 in weakest teams in terms of win percentage. And the Chargers have gone up against some powerhouse teams and are still 11-5. So I think the game today between the Chargers and the Broncos will be very telling about how playoffs will look. Because you have teams like the Bills and the Chargers that are not ever going to play a home game. And then you've got the Patriots and the Broncos that, yeah, they're going to play home games, but I don't know if they're going to win. So, we'll see.
Yeah, it's a very, very wide open race this year. There's not like 2 or 3 teams where you're like, okay, it's definitely one of these 3. Like, would it surprise anybody if the Rams get Devontae Adams healthy and then they go on a run?
Nope.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually. So, all right, well, let's get to talking about this week's games. A couple of them are meaningless, but 'tis the season. It's week 18, so we're going to have that. But if you'd like to look on both sides, we have the conference standings as they currently are, and they're going to update with every pick that we make today.
Yep.
So Seattle is locked into the 1 seed after their win last night. I guess since yesterday was an NFC day, we'll continue with the NFC.
Okay.
There's a lot of teams that are resting starters today, so we'll have to take that into consideration with our picks. So I guess let's start with the Packers and Vikings. The Packers are locked into the 7th seed. They literally can't move.
Yep.
And the Vikings have like nothing to play for. To be honest, this is one of the most meaningless games of the day because the Packers are resting everybody. The Vikings are rolling out, I don't even know who's playing quarterback for them today. I don't know if it's J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if it's Brosmer. I don't know who. But just the fact that the Packers are resting everybody, I feel like the Vikings are going to win in a meaningless game. Packers. But that might just be me. What do you guys think?
I would agree with that.
I don't know. I think even if they're playing backups, I still think the Packers will probably end up winning because I don't think the Vikings really care about winning this game because it's not like they can knock the Packers out or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think they should play JJ McCarthy if I'm the Vikings. I think you need to get him some work against a lesser opponent in the Packers number twos. But I still don't think he's going to win the game. I'll take the Packers. They're
Interesting.
still even playing the backups.
I agree that they should play McCarthy, even if it's just for experience, for a little more experience.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. This game is such a
Especially playing a backup squad, like
Yeah.
that's going to be his best opportunity to kind of showcase if he has it. If he can't go out there against a number two squad, basically, then I think the Vikings have learned what they have to learn from him.
yeah.
Well, and also Justin Jefferson needs like 100 and some yards today. 120, I think, for like to get 1,000 on the year.
Yeah.
So they said they'll
Good
be
luck with that.
feeding him. They'll be feeding him today. But my pick is still the Vikings. So is that 2 out of 3 of us?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
The Vikings also do have more rest. Not that that really matters much in a game like this, but they do have more rest and they're at home. So, moving on to the game of the day, the Saints versus the Falcons. I can't believe I'm saying this. Roger Goodell was so excited last night when they gifted the game to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I'm regardless of last night's outcome, I was more excited for this game anyway versus like the Panthers
Yeah.
Buccaneers game because the Saints are up and coming. They've won like 4 in a row. And the Falcons, who knows what you're going to get every week.
Nope.
Like you would assume that the Falcons would win at home. That's what you would assume.
Yes.
However, assumptions never work with the Atlanta Falcons because we all assumed they would get clapped last week on national television, and they didn't. So,
And
what
was
are our
it?
thoughts?
2 weeks, 3 weeks before that, we all assumed that they would destroy the Jets, and they lost.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
Lost. The only reason I have to go with the Falcons is
Speaking
they
of
did
inconsistency,
lose to the Saints last time they played in New Orleans. Plus, they've got a couple of their players back, and they have been playing stronger. So I will take the Falcons at home in a revenge game against their
Make them
actual
back.
arch rivals. But I would not be surprised at all if the Saints won.
I will also say the Saints defense has been sneaky good this year. Like not great, but they've been like sneaky good. Like nobody's really recognized.
Yeah.
They actually haven't been that bad. It's their in the games that they've
You know what
gotten
they're
blown out,
ranked?
it's been their offense that has been horrible, turning the ball over. And then what can the defense do at that point? So
Yeah.
what's the Saints defensive ranking? Do you know that?
I do not know that. Do you want to pull that up?
Let me try to Google it real quick.
In these last couple games, I know they have not given up a lot of points at all in the last few that they've played. I mean, granted, they've played like Tennessee and I think the Jets. They've played some
They're-
easy games.
Their total defense, like in total defense, they're ranked 9th.
Absolutely.
So
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, nobody's talking about
Yeah.
the Saints' defense, but their defensive line is so good with Cam Jordan and Chase Young. They have 2 edge rushers who are like insanely good. So, I mean, I don't know, Ethan. Do you trust your boy Kirk Cousins to get the job done against an elite defense?
After watching him against the Rams last week, yeah, honestly, I do.
Well, here's a good statistic. Actually, speaking of defensive rankings, only one of the current. Well, depends if Pittsburgh gets in or the Ravens. Well, either one, Pittsburgh and Ravens, they're not at all close to the rest of the pack. But besides them, the Bears are 28th ranked defense in total defense. But all the other playoff teams, except for the AFC North teams, are top 12.
There we go.
So literally almost the entire
All the
field
best
of
defenses.
playoff teams is
well, that's-
top defensive stats.
That's where the phrase comes from.
Here's what I'm gonna say,
Defense wins.
and this is another reason, and I think it might sway you. Yes, the Saints have an elite defense. However, their rush defense is 23rd this year in allowing rush yards and 25th this
Bijan.
year in scoring. And the Falcons have both Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. I have to go with the Falcons at home, knowing the Saints' rush defense is is in the lower half.
Yeah.
However, I'm planning on a Saints win on the level of if I do that, then I can't be disappointed today.
I think I was always going to pick the Falcons for this one, and then they can just disappoint me again. Because every time I pick them to win, they lose, and every time I pick them to get slaughtered, they win. So, congrats to the Saints.
I think I'm going to go Saints too, just because I think that they'll try. I think they'll game plan against the run if they're trying to win. Who knows? What they're like. I think that these games are unfortunately just going to be crapshoots because no one cares.
Yeah.
But if they care to play the game, and if they care about getting a pride win, I think the Saints would have it. Only because their defense. I mean, they're not. What is it? Ninth in total, but specifically, yeah, they kind of suck against the run. But you can game plan. Like I've watched Pittsburgh game plan for, all these other teams where they stop them for 100 yards, but then they get gashed the next 2 weeks for 250.
Yeah.
So you can game plan against the run, but their passing defense is fifth. So if they game plan to stop the run and force the Falcons into passing, which we know their quarterback situation is kind of bad, I think they have a pretty decent chance at winning.
And also, the argument to support you on that, Andrew, would be that the Saints have won 4 in a row. If they wanted to pack it in for draft positioning, they would have done so already. But they're hot right now.
They don't have draft position when they have
Saints,
6 wins.
Saints are more of an in-the-air team. And the Falcons are currently top 5 in passing defense. So this is this isn't me trying to say like, the Falcons are definitely going to win.
Low scoring game. Low scoring game.
This is definitely going to be a defensive gauntlet, and you need breakout key players that you've been hearing about all year. And when I think out of all the players on both sides of the field, I think Bijan Robinson, I think Drake London, I think Tyler Algier. I don't think really anybody from the Saints. And I think that's going to be the biggest issue is you've got one of the best defenses overall in the league versus one of the best passing defenses in the league. And then you've got a team that's insanely good on the run versus a team that's not great at stopping the run. And then I think because of the explosiveness of the Falcons offense when they come to play, I think I have to go with the Falcons.
I'm going to go with the Falcons, except, it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints won.
Yeah.
I will say, I think the Falcons, the only reason that I'm hesitant to pick them is because, to be honest, I think the Saints have better coaches. I think the Saints have a better coaching staff. But I will pick the Falcons because they have so many offensive playmakers. London, Bijan, Pitts. They shouldn't lose this. If we just compare their rosters, they should not lose this game, but it'll come down to coaching and which side is more motivated. But I'll pick the Falcons as well there, which means that the Panthers would be 8-9 and hosting a playoff game next week. All right, moving on to the Cowboys against the Giants. Cowboys do have a little bit of extra rest here for this game. I mean, I don't know what you want to say about this. I think Dallas is going to win. I'm not even going to watch this game. I don't really care what happens.
I agree, Dallas wins.
I think Dallas wins just because Dak Prescott. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think Dak Prescott is like, what was the stat? I think he's won his last 12 games against the Giants when he has started for the Cowboys.
I think the Giants are tanking for draft position too here. Like they're
I would agree with that.
3-win team. The Browns
they're actually all the way at the bottom right now of the NFC. If you see that,
out tank the Raiders.
I was gonna say the Browns blew their shot at the first round pick by beating Pittsburgh last week. So it's between the Titans, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Giants. Now I'm not sure all the tiebreakers as far as draft positioning.
And
but
Arizona, if Arizona loses,
that's true. And Arizona, yeah. So like. All the 4 bottom teams here, 4 or 5 bottom teams, they're all going to be trying to lose today. That's
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind. So for today, Giants, Cardinals, Raiders, Jets, Titans. Those are the teams who have a viable shot at the 1. So like those games today should be automatic L's for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
That's
moving
going to be your top 5 picks, obviously, in the draft right here.
Well,
moving on to the next game, we have Cardinals and Rams. So this is a really easy pick for me. Sean McVay was pissed off. I don't know if any of you saw his post-game conference. Like, he was pissed, and he was like, the starters will play.
oh,
So, like, I think they're going to roll over
Wow.
the Cardinals because he's really upset.
that's funny because I was just
so-
about to say we've got the Cardinals that want to tank and the Rams that are going to rest all their players. But I
Well,
guess
what's
gonna
funny,
say, I
though,
thought
is
they were-
actually if the Rams win, they do get the tiebreaker, and they move up to the 5 seed based on common opinion.
Huh.
So they'll move
Okay.
up, which is interesting if they win.
Then yeah, I would see the Rams playing your starters. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that should be a win for them today. Unless
Well,
you
who
guys
would they play as the 5 versus the 6 seed? Let's see. So it would be
So it would be Rams against Panthers and Eagles against
Rams
Niners
Panthers.
Oh man.
if the Rams win. So the Rams are going to want to win. Although,
Yeah.
if you remember earlier this year, the Panthers beat the Rams in Carolina, if you remember that,
True.
earlier this year. So I'm just putting that out there.
Luna,
That
get down.
it's just so funny because Stafford, I think, threw like 2 or 3 picks that game, and Carolina won.
Yep.
So, like,
Yep.
Rams traveling to Carolina, do they get scared? And when they go, I mean, I don't want to say scared, but, like, they lost to this team earlier this year,
Yeah.
and they looked really bad in that loss, too. The Rams did.
Yeah.
So, either way, I think they take care of business at home today against a Cardinals team that has no desire, no motivation, and a terrible head coach, Jonathan Gannon. And I know that because he was the Eagles' defensive coordinator, and his defense is the reason we lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs in 2022. So,
Come here.
anyway,
No, you lost the Super Bowl because of the Jalen Hurts fumble. And
Okay,
also, basically ghost holding penalty on Juju Smith-Schuster. But,
right.
you know,
But, I mean, the
I guess
defense letting up
technically that's
38
defensive. But
the defense letting up 38 points is unacceptable, though, too,
Yeah.
in a game like that.
yeah,
So-
but that was when the Chiefs were a powerhouse. That was
Yeah.
also when the Eagles were a powerhouse. So
True. So then we've got Lions at Bears, and these next 2 NFC games will determine the 2 seed today. If
yeah,
Chicago wins, they automatically get the 2. If they lose, but the Eagles also lose, they still get the 2. The only way they flip is if Eagles win and Lions win today. But we'll start with the Lions going to Chicago, and this is putting all of my biases away. There is no way that Dan Campbell is going to just be like, all right, boys, let's pack it in. Knowing the type of guy that Dan
Yeah.
Campbell is, he's going to want
he'll
the
still be
Lions.
going for it on 4th down every
Absolutely.
single drive.
Absolutely.
You know, he'll be biting kneecaps. you
And
know.
Yeah.
this is the type of game that the Lions win. It's the games that you
Absolutely.
don't expect them to. You're rooting against them. It's the game where the other team has massive playoff implications, and then Dan Campbell and his Lions show up and absolutely stomp them into the ground. I am picking Lions off of a mini bye with Dan Campbell as their head coach.
And they just
Well,
got
we just got done talking about defense. The Bears are like
yeah, exactly.
28 ranked
Yeah.
defense.
I mean, the Lions
so
aren't much better. I'll say
the
that.
Lions have an offense that's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
now it doesn't always come together, as
Two
you can
things
tell
that
by
I'll
their
say.
record. But
Well, yeah.
Number 1, Jared Goff outdoors, not good, especially in cold weather. The other thing I'll say, though, is the Lions just got absolutely humiliated on Christmas Day, national TV. So, like,
they
I
do.
highly doubt that they're going to come out and want to look like that again.
Yeah.
So, Dan Campbell's going to have the boys ready for one more. The Bears could win, but, like, I feel like Dan Campbell is just going to motivate them. The only thing I'll say, though, too, is the Lions destroyed the Bears earlier this season. It was like 50-something to 13 or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like the Bears, the only way that I'm hesitant to pick the Lions is because the Bears are at home and it's outdoors.
Yeah.
And Goff is abysmal outdoors.
Yeah.
So,
but
like-
I trust Gibbs. I think
Well, here's the thing too. Always looking at the play. Like who would the Bears want to play in the play? They're a lock. So they're locked into what, 2 or 3 at this point,
2 or 3.
depending on how this game and the Eagles game goes.
Yes. Yep.
So let's say they stay at 2, and let's say the bracket stays how it is.
Well, they would automatically play the Packers because the Packers can't move.
I was gonna say they would play the Packers.
I
So
think the Packers could win that game too.
Do they want to play the Packers in a tough divisional game, a team that knows them like the back of their hand usually,
right?
Or do they want to drop to 3 and play whoever the 6th seed is?
That would be the Niners, who they just lost to.
But it was a very competitive game that they could have won.
It wasn't that bad of a game for them, you know.
In fact, their offense looked outstanding that game,
and they looked worse against the Packers. The Bears did when they played the Packers 2 weeks ago.
I don't think it matters who it's against. Like if the Rams lose and the Niners are the 5 seed, the Niners are the linchpin to the playoffs. They are the only team other than the Eagles that I think have had the strength and have had that resilience. Yeah, they have an off game here and there, but like no matter whoever they play, I feel like you could say, oh, you know, if they go against the Eagles, it's an easy dub for the Eagles. I don't think so. I don't think it's an easy win. I think if they go against the Bears, they just beat the Bears. I think like if they had beaten the Seahawks and they were the 1 seed, that every team would have to go through the Niners, and I think that shows what kind of team they are. I think yesterday was insane of a loss. I don't understand how that happened. I think the Seahawks are for real. But you're right. I think it's up to the Bears to be like, who do we want to play? Because, not to skip ahead, the Eagles are beating the Commanders. There's no way they don't when they have the possible 2 seed on the line.
Yeah.
I will say the Eagles are resting. We're starting Tanner McKee today. No Jalen Hurts, no Saquon Barkley, no A.J. Brown.
Bro, he's going to go off for 350 yards.
I still think the Eagles will win with their backups. I do really think.
I think McKee is going to absolutely show out. I mean, Eagles fans have been calling. I mean, the ones that don't like Jalen Hurts, they've been calling for McKee to start for how long now?
Well, he's
not that bad of a quarterback.
He's great. You
know, he backed up before and went in there and slung it around.
Yeah.
You know, if they're starting the rest of their team, because they can move up. So if the rest of the starters are playing,
they're resting their very important pieces. So I think like, you know, the key defensive guys and the key offensive guys, but like you can't rest everybody. So like there will be some starters on the field. Even so, I mean, like I still don't see how Washington wins this game or has the desire to win this game.
No.
Because if you look, I mean, if they lose today, they're basically guaranteed a top 6 pick. Yep. So it's like
you're not going to want to move.
So should we lock in the Eagles?
So let's lock in the Birds because go Tanner McKee. But see, I don't know, like Ben Johnson to get his revenge against Dan Campbell. I don't know. It's such a tough pick.
Yeah.
I gotta go Lions. There's just something in my gut telling me.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the Lions are not going to go out on a whimper. That would be my pick.
So you guys are both. I mean, it doesn't matter what my pick is then, but
no. What is your pick?
You know what? I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the Lions, just because I don't like the Bears' defense. The Lions have too much firepower. And also Dan Campbell's a
big factor here. Yeah.
Dan Campbell's a more aggressive coach, and he's gonna want that pride win at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
More than some other teams do.
Yes.
So the Bears are another one of those teams that we talked about with the strength of opponents being in like the .40 something. Like they have not had a difficult schedule.
And I know we'll get to this in a moment, but like if this were to happen, then the Eagles would play the Packers in Philly, and we already beat them.
Yeah.
At Lambeau Field this year. I doubt that we would lose at home to Green Bay, especially with Micah Parsons being out for the year. You know, their pass rush is basically 0. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, moving to the AFC, we've got the Colts visiting the Texans. I feel like the Texans get the win here at home. Their defense is, I believe it's number 1 in the league in total defense, either 1 or 2. I know, Andrew, you had
that. They're number 1.
Yeah. So best defense at home, trying to win the division. Because if they win today and Jacksonville loses, the Texans are the AFC South champions. So I doubt that the Texans lose this game. What do you guys
And the
think?
Texans are allowing 272 total yards a game. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
I have to go with
And only 30,
the Texans.
32 touchdowns. Jeez. Yeah, I'm going with the Texans. The Colts have nothing to play for. They're stuck in the middle. They're not
Especially
gonna
with
get
a rookie
great
QB
draft
on the road, rookie quarterback
Yeah,
on the road
exactly.
against the best defense. It's not happening. Browns
Well,
visiting
are the Texans
Bengals.
resting? Are they resting? They can move up or down.
No,
still?
they can win the division if they win and Jacksonville loses. So they're
Right,
playing.
so they're gonna want to play.
They're playing.
So.
They're playing. Yeah. Browns visiting the Bengals. I feel like the Browns are just so dysfunctional. Give me Joe Burrow and the gang to get one more for the road at home.
Joe Burrow.
That would be my pick.
I'd agree with that.
So you guys both taking Bengals?
What do you think, though? I mean, you're the expert on the AFC North, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Browns are coming off a high. They're coming off their Super Bowl last week.
Exactly.
So, Shedeur got his statement win against the Steelers by scoring a grand total of 13 points and one fluky, lucky touchdown. That should have been intercepted, by the way, but we can get to that later when I talk about the Steelers. But, I think they'll be on a bit of a high. And also, don't forget, Myles Garrett still chasing the record. So
True.
we all know how crappy the Bengals' offensive line is.
Yeah.
So I think he breaks that record today. I think he actually blows out the record. If I'm not lying. I see him getting at least 3 sacks, at least 3, with the Bengals' atrocious offensive line. Will that be enough to beat the Bengals? Who knows? I think so because I think Cleveland has the second best defense in the league. So it's the second best defense against, I don't know what their offensive rank is for the Bengals, but it's probably pretty darn good. So it'll be a good game. I'm going to take the Browns just because I think the Browns are going to try to keep playing hard. They're going to try to get Shedeur a little bit more practice, a little bit more experience against a good divisional team. I think the defense will keep them in it against the Bengals. I think maybe Shedeur makes a play or two better than Burrow because they're quitting. The Bengals, they have a quit mentality sometimes, especially with Jamar Chase being a diva that he is. They have a quitter's mentality when it comes to meaningless games usually, especially playing another divisional team that's not anywhere close to being in it. So I'm going to take the Browns strictly because they have a lot more to play for with the statistics and the record and Shedeur trying to get some experience. I'm going to take the Browns.
All righty. And then we move on to the Titans visiting the Jaguars. The Jaguars will clinch the AFC South with a win today. And if they win, they can get no lower than the 3rd seed if they win. So you got to think they're going to be playing for real because if they lose, I mean, they could drop to the 6th or 7th seed. So,
absolutely.
I mean,
I'm going Jaguars.
Remember what we talked about. The Titans are going to want that automatic L today, I think, for draft. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville at home to get the job done. And win
I'm taking, just because it's at home, I'm going to take Jacksonville too.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest place to play in, but
and then
it's not that big a deal.
We've got the Chiefs visiting the Raiders. I will say, even with the Chiefs' 3rd-string quarterback, I still have to take Kansas City because the Raiders, if they lose this game, they don't want to win. They get the 1. They get the number 1 pick if they lose this game. They're not going to want to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going with Chiefs as well.
So
yeah, I'm taking Kansas City's a lock. I mean,
is that your lock of the week?
Yeah,
because we'll go through our locks of the week.
Dude, the Raiders, they'll pull a Madden where they'll accidentally hit their pitch button on a play they're about to score on.
Yeah. And then we've got the Chargers visiting Denver, and this is a big game today because if the Chargers lose this game, they're probably dropping to the 7th seed, and Denver with a win will clinch the 1 seed. So Denver at home with a little more rest, a really good defense. I would probably lean Denver here,
If
but
the
I'm open to
Chargers
discussing.
were home, I would have picked the Chargers, but because it's Denver, I have to go with the Broncos.
It's hard to play at Denver because of the altitude, you know.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Broncos there.
Let's go back to actually these are oh my gosh, this is gonna be another low scoring game.
Yeah, both defense. The Chargers defense
Broncos
is
are
also
3,
sneakily
Chargers
good.
are 4
Yeah,
total defense. Let's see specifics. Chargers are 6th in passing. Broncos are 8th in passing.
yeah, it's gonna be close.
Rushing. Broncos are 2 in rushing though, and then the Chargers are 9th. So top 10 defenses all around the board there. I don't know. I might take the experience that that the Chargers have at the quarterback position there.
And I want
With
the
Herbert.
Chargers to win.
I like the
Yeah,
Chargers.
like I do like the Chargers in the matchup only because I think that they have the advantage of skill again on their team, kind of similarly to why we don't think the Bills will do too well sometimes. I think the Chargers have more skill on their offense, especially with their quarterback. Not to take anything away from what the Broncos have done. I think they're fluky. They're a fluky 1 seed
Yeah.
based off of their cupcake schedule, just like the Patriots. If the Patriots jump to the 1 seed, they're going to also be a fluky 1 seed in my mind because they've had a cupcake schedule. They haven't been impressive in their wins, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, the Chargers, their wins are impressive. Now, some of their losses aren't quite impressive, but you can't win them all. It's the NFL. So
Well, yeah.
I'll take the
I will
Chargers
say-
and the fact that they've played better as a whole against better teams.
If the Chargers had a healthy offensive line, right now they've got backups all over the place on their O-line. Both of their starting tackles are out for the year, left tackle and right tackle.
Yeah.
And yet they're 11-5. Imagine if they had, because Herbert's been the most sacked QB all year.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
had an offensive line healthy, they could have won. They could have won that division this year. In fact, I would say they would have won that division. I think they could be in play for the 1 seed if they had a healthy offensive line.
But all right.
But
so,
anyways,
Positive.
Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers.
You guys are going with I still think Broncos, but we'll see. I think if the Broncos.
oh,
lose,
so
then
it's my pick because I'm still split. So Ethan, you say Broncos and Andrew says Chargers.
I want to say the Chargers. I think the Chargers are the stronger team. I just don't like. It's the Broncos. I don't like. I can't give any better explanation.
Who won in LA earlier this year? Did Denver win that game in LA earlier? I think they did. I might be wrong though.
I thought that was one of their losses, wasn't it?
Did Denver win that game earlier this year? That's because I think that part of that matters. Because if Denver won that game, I don't know about a sweep.
Yeah.
They played.
I mean, that's a good point too.
No,
That's a good
Chargers
point.
won.
The
Chargers
sweep
won
is
20-23
The
in
Chargers
LA.
won that game.
That's what I thought.
Well, there's also a little thing that's making me like the Broncos are coming off a mini bye because they played on Christmas. So like, oh man, they've had
That
more
was so
time.
early in the season though, that loss to the Chargers. Like that was week 3.
Well, and also it was in LA and it was by 3 points.
Well,
yeah. If LA was home, I would pick them. But the Denver on not on short rest, on a longer period of rest, makes me lean Denver.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly. I'm going to lean Denver. And then we've got the Jets visiting Buffalo. If the Bills lose this, they don't even deserve anything.
Nope.
But I think the Bills win. Miami travels to New England. New England wants a chance at that 1 seed, so I feel like New England would take care of business there.
Yep.
Yeah, although who did Miami beat last week? That
The
was kind
Buccaneers.
of I guess that's not a very impressive win.
Yeah, that's not.
They kind of blew them out though, didn't they?
No, it was a close game, but they
Was
won.
it a close game?
Yeah,
It was just
it
that was a high scoring game. I
Yeah.
think. Not a blowout, but
All right, I'm gonna give up this next game to Andrew to decide
Oh,
the
baby.
4 seed.
to decide, well, you know what I'm gonna pick, but
I would agree with the Steelers.
I'm gonna let my bias take control. But here's all right. So I got a couple factors though in my defense to the Steelers being able to pull this off. Okay, number one, Mike Tomlin, even though he's bad at running his team, like you can tell by that Browns game that they atrociously lost. All right.
But they could have had a bye
They
week.
will not have a second game like that again. And you saw that when they played the Bills and got absolutely humiliated. They came out and they won their next 3 games. Decisively, I might add, except for the Lions game. All right. So Mike Tomlin's not going to let that happen to the team again. And especially with this much to play for, I would hope not. Number 2, I just saw the injury report for Pittsburgh. Every single active player is healthy. So we have an entirely healthy squad.
TJ Watt, he's
TJ Watt was a full practice participant.
wow.
He's fully
That is
recovered.
big. That's big.
So obviously that doesn't include the suspensions and the IR. If you guys don't know, Darnell Washington on the IR, broken arm. So we don't have our biggest dude on the team.
That is a big loss. That's actually that's a big loss.
Well, yeah, both of our biggest red zone targets are now out.
Yep.
So you got him out, and then you also obviously have the suspension for DK. Now, the other thing is that it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So that's a huge factor right now. It's in Pittsburgh. And that's the primary reason I think that they're going to play well, because it's in Pittsburgh. But then the last thing, on the injury front, but on the opposite side with the Ravens, they are unhealthy as a defense. Their defense has dropped off throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
Now I'd have to go look at their injury. I don't know what their injury report is.
Lamar's playing injured today. He's playing hurt today.
What's that?
Lamar is playing injured today.
He's
not
playing.
fully healthy.
So that was where I was getting at. Is Lamar is playing, but he injured his back the last 2 weeks ago. And so I know from back injuries and watching the likes of like Tony Romo and Peyton Manning with his neck injuries, like you got to be careful with back injuries, especially if you try to come back and play. You get hit one time wrong, it's going to be kind of out for the count there. Now I will say though, Lamar Jackson has a 3-6 record versus Pittsburgh all time. So he's not too hot against Pittsburgh. If Huntley plays, I'd be thinking a whole lot differently, because Huntley for some reason kills teams.
He does
much better than Lamar Jackson does,
and he fits their system perfectly.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh focuses. I think Pittsburgh focuses on stopping Derrick Henry today. I think they'll let Lamar dink and dunk his way down the field a bit, just because of trying to limit Lamar Jackson running and Derrick Henry running. Like I said, you can scheme for running. At that rate, it's about how well the pass defense plays. And because we're getting all of our starting secondary back, I think we have a pretty good chance at limiting the 1 or 2 factors on their offense, which is Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. Yeah. I don't see anyone else on their offense in the passing game doing much.
Yeah.
So, especially because Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball. And I'm going to stick to my guns on that. I hope we have Ravens fans watching, because I'd love for them to argue with me about how good of a quarterback Lamar Jackson is.
See, I think the Steelers are overall a better team, even when the Ravens are healthy, because of how consistent the Steelers have been compared to how consistent the Ravens have been. I know they haven't been perfect, but
the Ravens have not been.
Ravens are as bad as the Falcons. Ravens, I would say, are almost as bad as the Falcons in terms of consistency. But all right, I have to hop off like in the next 4-ish minutes. So do we want to do playoff predictions next week?
Or, well, so we have this week decided. If this week goes as predicted, these would be the matchups for next week. We could do like a rapid fire 4-minute goodbye session. So these
no talking about it, just pick a team.
I'm going AFC. I would go Houston for that first game. Sorry, Andrew.
That's all right. I'm going to go Pittsburgh just because.
Bills and Jags. I'm going to take the Jags.
Me too.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll talk more in depth next week we'll talk more in depth about these because they will actually be cemented.
Yeah.
Chargers, Patriots. I'm going Chargers.
I think Chargers are going to expose
Yeah,
the Patriots.
Chargers. I think, again, Patriots are fluky.
Rams, Panthers. I think Rams get their revenge.
Rams. I agree.
Yeah, I think so. Rams, too.
Niners, Bears. This one's really interesting. It's very interesting.
So I just checked the injury report. Every player except Nick Bosa will be back on active roster for the 49ers, and we've seen what they can do in playoffs.
Wow. Okay. I'll go Niners.
Warner's going to be back. Mikael Williams is going to be back.
Niners have way more postseason experience.
Yes.
Caleb Williams in his first
Caleb
start
was a first-timer.
versus Shanahan and Purdy, who have been to a Super Bowl. Give me the Niners.
Well, and Purdy is great in playoffs. The only game that he lost in playoffs was against the Eagles when he got injured in the third quarter.
Right.
But,
And then Packers, Birds. I'm going to go Birds at home against a Packers team who's severely injured. Kraft out for the year. Parsons out for the year.
I got to go with the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles.
So that would put these as the division round matchups.
Wow.
Oh, man, that NFC. Look at the NFC, man. That's crazy. AFC. Ooh, Texans travel to Jacksonville. What a game. These are all division games except for the Rams-Eagles. That's crazy. That's crazy. I got to go with Jacksonville.
Yeah, me too.
They have a really good defense,
I don't know
too.
the Texans' defense, though.
I know, but Jacksonville is another one of those sneaky good defenses.
I think I'm going to snag the
And
Texans
the Jaguars' offense is more consistent than the Texans' offense is.
I mean, but we want to talk about, without talking too much about it, but experience, though. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he's got it yet for the playoffs.
Trevor Lawrence in playoffs.
He's won one
regular
playoff game. He's won one playoff game. And so Stroud has won, I think, one or two.
I think he's won two.
Either way, I'm taking the home team. So
I'm taking the Texans.
Ethan, it's your call.
I gotta go with the Texans. I gotta go with the experience, and I think Trevor Lawrence in playoffs is like Kirk Cousins in the regular season. He's not good.
All right. Broncos hosting the Chargers. If this were to happen, I think Chargers get their revenge.
Agreed. I would go with the Chargers there as well.
Me too.
Rams visiting Philly. The Rams are, I believe, 0-5 or 6 against Philly in the last couple of years.
I'd go with Philly.
I don't see
That
how
means
they're
they're due for one, bro.
Well,
Sorry
they're
to
due
say.
for one, or they come to our house and get destroyed again. I mean, but here's the thing: if I'm being completely honest for 1 second, that has to take an effect on them mentally. For them to travel to Philly for a playoff game and be like, "Dude, we can never beat these guys to begin with." Like that has to have some sort of effect.
I would go with Philly here.
I would still take Philly just because of that, but you never know. That's one of those games that can flip the switch in a second.
Stafford has not looked good recently. So, and then Niners, Seattle. Man, oh man. I gotta go with Niners.
Niners revenge game.
It's almost like we just watched that game, but
I think the Niners have another gear that they can turn.
Well, and
I don't know.
especially with what they were missing almost half of their starters on defense yesterday. So
I think they'll turn it around.
And Darnold in the postseason has, I mean, you saw last year with the Vikings, he threw 3 or 4 picks. So
I would go with Niners.
I think the Niners get that one, which would mean that these are our championship games.
Oh man,
I would take the Texans on the AFC because just their elite defense.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, okay. When's Herbert's O-line getting back?
They're not. They're out for the season.
Okay, then yeah, I would go with Texans as well.
I think I would go with Texans there too. Yeah,
And then
just because of defense.
I'm gonna stay out of this one because that's bias. But
Come on, bro. Just pick the Eagles.
Well, the only thing that I'm going to say is that the Eagles have the better defense, for sure. That's undisputed.
I think the Niners have
the offense, the Niners do have the better offense. That's the thing.
And you also have to
I
look
think
at their records. I'm sorry, and I really don't want my dad to have his Niners go to the Super Bowl. However, both teams, provided our prediction is correct for the Eagles, are 12-5, and that is with a ravaged 49ers all-around team. They played over half of the season with less than half of their starting players.
true.
Whereas the Eagles have
That
been
is true.
relatively healthy throughout the entire season. I think if the Niners stay healthy, I think they're going to want revenge for the last NFC Championship. I have to go Niners.
Are the Niners going to win 3 road games in a row against Chicago, Seattle, and Philly?
Yes.
That's a tough task.
Well,
See,
even
I
if they
don't think the
beat
Niners.
Seattle,
I think just like the Rams, I think the Niners have that in the back of their heads that man, they just couldn't do it against Philly. Now we got to try to do it again.
yeah,
Here's why I think they will. Kyle Shanahan. I would say the best coach in the league this year, considering what he has been
He's
working
good.
with. I think if any coach can get a powerhouse of a team to win 3 road games in playoffs, it's him. Plus, they're going to be fighting for a home game in the Super Bowl.
well, and that was the case with the Eagles-Vikings in 2017, and then the Eagles spanked them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I will say, just last thing, if they do beat Seattle, which I think they would, that's a really tough divisional game on the road. They're going to have to expend a lot of energy. I'm not saying that the Eagles wouldn't, but the Eagles would have 3 straight home games.
Yeah.
They would just be chilling at home versus the Niners traveling all over the country and expending all their energy. I don't know. I feel like Philly has the advantage there.
It's possible. I think Chicago will be a good prep for them on the level
It's up
of
to you,
temperature
Andrew.
and
Oh yeah, I agree. It's up to you, Andrew. Though it's your pick.
Oh, I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay.
that's fair.
Which means the Super Bowl. Which means the Super Bowl would be Eagles Texans. Is what the Super Bowl would be. That would be a crazy Super Bowl. Texans have the slightly better defense. I think the Eagles have the better offense.
Slightly.
Yeah,
like-
I would say slightly.
Yeah, it's
I
close.
I would go with the
I
Eagles
would
here.
take the Eagles. I would take the Eagles.
Back-to-back champions.
And
But
I
see,
hope I'm
and
not
that's
being biased.
See, that's why I don't
But,
think
like-
the Eagles would beat the Niners, is they'd have that in their heads of possible back-to-back champions, and the Niners would be like, we want that home game, we need revenge for the NFC. I do think, like, that is anybody's game. That is, one player gets injured, it goes the other way. Like, I don't, this is going to be, I would
The
actually
Eagles
prefer
are
to
getting-
watch the Niners-Eagles game than I would the Super Bowl. I think that would be a better game than the Eagles-Texans Super Bowl.
The thing about the Eagles defense too, well, and really with the Texans is they don't allow touchdowns.
No.
That's the thing. Like they're in the low 30s, like 31 for the Eagles, 32 touchdowns total for the Texans. The yardage, like the Eagles are a 316 average. Texans are 272. Okay, so that seems like a big gap, but in a realistic sense of a football game, 30, 40 yards
That's just one
doesn't
big
really
play.
make that much of a difference. You know, that's a
one side of
penalty.
football.
That's like 2 or 3 penalties per game
Right.
in yardage that could also happen. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think that that's going to matter too much. I just think the Eagles have a better
the Eagles
core.
have a better offense than the
Yeah.
Texans.
Yeah.
I
The
would
Eagles
agree.
have they have the weapons. The Texans, they have weapons, but it's not the weapons like Saquon, AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles have the most ridiculous receiving core I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
between their tight ends, running back, and their starting 2 receivers, even their backup receivers, like
Jahan
they make
Dotson.
plays too.
Yeah.
Right? I don't really know the Texans off the top of my head like that. Like who's their starter? They have Nico
they have
Collins.
Nico Collins. They've got
and,
Christian Kirk, Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Christian Kirk. Okay, I mean,
That's their number 2 receiver, though, bro.
yeah, I mean, what has he done all year
Yeah.
compared to the Eagles' number 2 receiver?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take Devontae any day on that
Yeah.
matchup.
Well,
Yeah, I think the Eagles have the firepower. If their offensive scheme, though, my only concern with the Eagles is their game plan and their coordinator when it comes to the offense. If he can make a good plan of action and he can create a game plan suitable for the offense to run properly, then okay, they'll be fine. But if they lay an egg like some of their previous games recently,
It's really
that's
going
gonna
to
be rough.
depend on if the Eagles get the 2 or 3 seed. Their path would be much easier with the 2 seed. Much easier.
Yeah.
With the 3, it becomes a much more difficult path. So that's why seeding matters too. Like our predictions are based on what we project our seeding to be, but if they're different, I mean, this could be a whole different outlook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll be back next week for our wild card round predictions. In fact,
We'll go in
I think
depth.
one of the wild card games or 2 of them might be on Saturday actually.
I was gonna say, are you guys gonna still hold this on Sunday, even though 2 of the games are gonna be played early?
I don't know. I mean, we might have to.
We'll talk about
We
it.
may have to bump it. We may have to.
I was gonna
Bump
say,
it.
can we do like a Friday night or something like that?
I have no problem with that.
Like, is that
All
is
right,
that
folks.
too out of it for you guys?
We may be going live Friday nights for playoff predictions. Just stay tuned. But yeah, we'll think about it. We'll talk about it for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
I gotta get
All right.
going.
Well, see you guys later. Thanks for a good episode, and we'll
Yep.
see what the playoff matchups are
Like
next
and
week.
subscribe. See you guys later.
Yep.